Everyone, Kirkcaster here, and today we're going to talk about the long-awaited version 2 update for PSO2 New Genesis. So this is kind of like the start of the era for version 2, so we'll slowly get bigger things over the course of a few months or even more. But to start off with this, there is a lot that got added with the campaigns and different kind of cosmetic options. As you see, I have like a million tabs, so we're just going to go right through them as fast as we can. So first off, we have the main part of this update so far, and that is the creative spaces. This allows you to build your dream home, as they say here, or games, or just like a whole bunch of different contraptions on your own island. It's actually pretty flexible. I tried it out the first day, and there's a lot going for it. I did find that it's kind of hard to use at first, but over like the course of a few hours, you might get more used to it. But for this, it unlocks like near the beginning of the game in like chapter 1. So you just need to get to like Mount Magnus, which I believe is at like level 6 or 8, somewhere around there, pretty early on. Also with these spaces, they added a new Genesis points currency or system where you collect GP from your tree inside the creative space and also obtain it from tasks and visiting other people's places. And they can use it on more build parts for your creative spaces, or actually use it in an exchange in game by the ARKS NPC, which is the architectural researcher over here. And then you just talk to them. And then go to exchange Genesis points and get a whole bunch of different materials, capsules, and Aegis Integra and Ajax armor down there. But in this shop, it resets monthly, so you're kind of limited in how much you can actually use for gain in like the main core gameplay. Regardless, though, I'm just happy that there is value to all players playing the game with these creative spaces, either creative or not. And I'm definitely looking forward to what people are going to come up with for these areas. And if you want to access them, you just have to go to a Reaker device, and it's just that new option on the bottom, creative space, and then you can access your own spaces or other people's spaces in this menu. Next, we have a new part of the main story, Chapter 6, Part 1. They're doing something a little bit different with the story from now on with this version 2 era. They're going to be in smaller chunks than before, but they're going to be released at a more rapid pace. So they said about like every 2 months is what they're shooting for, and then they're going to be in like 30-minute to 1-hour chunks. Before, it was like 2 to 3 hours, but only every 6 months. So hopefully overall, there will be more story released. But for this, it's kind of like a prologue leading up to the new enemy type, the Starless, and I thought it was like a pretty nice start for the story here. For the next thing, though, there is adjustments to the main story overall. There's going to be experience balance changes from the NPC Gaiden, which gave like side tasks before. They gave like a ton of XP out of nowhere, and those are going to be pushed into the main tasks instead, so you'll feel like you're getting way more XP doing the main story versus just these 2 random side quests here. Then also adjusted to the main tasks, the battle power minimum and the story quest requirements are just completely gone from the main story. So if you just want to do them back to back, you can. But if you're going too fast, you might feel like you're kind of like behind, or can't quite kill the enemies and they're just like slaughtering you. So you might want to still increase your battle power or your gear as you go along the game. But with this next adjustment, it kind of eliminates that at least a little bit, or at least reduces like how hard it's going to be, because they're going to be ending damage attenuation for story quests, which means if they're like higher level enemies than you, then you won't have like that damage resistance added on like with everything else. And then in addition to this, there's going to be balance changes to the story quest that lowers the enemies levels overall. So that means you'll be able to go through it faster and don't need as many levels to get through everything. Also, with this update on June 7th, there's going to be new skills for all classes. From what I saw, it's just 1 new skill per weapon type in the game. Some classes will get like 3, some 2, and then like I think Gunner only gets like 1, same with like Waker. So it kind of just like varies between each of the different ones. But from what I saw, these skills kind of change how you could play the different weapons by adding more damage to like the normals, so interchanging between normals and PAs, or there's like skip arts to do certain combinations, and like with Katana, there's like you get to use your sidestep to potentially skip into last steps, so maybe you don't counter, like the weapon action counter all the time. So there's just like a lot of interesting changes. I just don't know if they're quite good or not yet, since it's so new, but we'll see as we play more around with them. But also in this update, there's another cosmetic kind of addition, portable holograms. So with this, you can place like different objects, paints, and effects around the map, either in the cities, explorations areas, pretty much anywhere. With these, there's a whole bunch of default ones that you can put down, but these will be in AC scratches in the future. But to access them in game, all you gotta do is go into your menu and then press chat down there, and then it says place nearby or place the portable holograms. So you just choose from the list, and then in the cities you get a cost of 6, so you can only put like 2 of these or whatever else up to a cost of that 6 there. But in the open worlds and exploration zones, you get up to 12, so a little bit more to work around with. These are mainly for like doing screenshots or other things that you might want to do just to mess around. For another cosmetic change, there is the Cel Shading option, so you can access that in the options menu or at the salon. You can just turn that on, it'll activate for all of the NPCs and players in the game, and you can adjust it if you want to with the outline emphasis and shadow density to fit what you want. And I think it actually looks pretty good, and it's kind of crazy that they're able to add this, and it seems pretty seamless. To go along with all these additions, we have some new features and improvements. So there's a new photo mode feature where you can change the depth of field or like the focal ratio while taking pictures. So you can like blur out the background if you want, so it focuses on your character. And then also you can set up photo rooms now at the ARKS base, which I think is great because I always wanted to take like some screenshots in cities, but people would just like keep getting in my way. So now I can finally just be in a photo room there. But then there's also an additional slider for garments where there was some issues with like the waistline of like certain outfits or whatever, so they can change the width of that to kind of move the outfit closer to the body instead of like bulging outwards. I did hear that for some outfits though, it still doesn't quite work, so hopefully they can improve upon that in the future. Then there are a couple of things with the skill points that got changed. So now when you earn them for the first time by completing training, you can actually learn class skills on the fly, so you can just do that for all of the classes. You can just keep going through the game instead of going back to town to do so. But then also at the class counter in town, you can freely change your skill points to and from. So you can take it out of this one, put it into over here or wherever else. And you don't need a reset pass anymore, and you don't need to spend like real money to do so. So that is a huge change. And then for the final thing that they show off here, there's a new kind of like item search function for the personal shop where you can misspell the searches. So this person put like Giant armor instead of Giant armor. So you can just kind of like misspell that with like all of the different things that you can search. This isn't all of like the features and improvements added to the game though. There is a whole bunch of update details that we'll get to in a second. But next on this page, they changed how base game or classic PSO2 works with its data. It is now changed to free DLC for all platforms. So this was already the case for PlayStation, but now like all of the stores on PC as well as Xbox will now be able to download Classic separately. So if you don't want it, you don't need that 50 gigabytes anymore. You can just have NGS. But for those that want to have PSO2, they'll have to re-download this as DLC, and they can just go back like before. But for certain things in NGS, some of the things won't work, like certain music discs or certain like items from base game, so just keep that in mind if you don't have this downloaded. For the AC Scratch this week, we have Designer Dreams June 23. This is the second batch of items from that PSO2 10th anniversary contest from last year, and inside is a whole bunch of outfits, cast parts for both male and female, as well as accessories and emotes like always. But now, from now on, they're going to put the item catalog for these scratches like they used to a long time ago, and you can actually look at it on the official website now. So we have a whole bunch of different items here. My personal favorite in this is actually this little Rappy Pilot accessory down here. I think it's pretty cute. But just as always, you can look at it in-game and buy the tickets there. Now though, let's take a look at the update details. There's actually quite a bit that they added with this update. There's actually quite a bit here that's different from what we just saw. They've adjusted a lot of the different attacks. They adjusted the damage adjustment for damage taken by the player when attacked by enemies of higher level, so you won't be taking as much damage. And then also that thing with the story quest we talked about earlier, no attenuation. So it just kind of like overall helps the players. And then with the Ryuker devices across the map, the teleporters, there'll be way more of those. So there'll be more in the Alio regions, some in Ritem, as well as Kavaris. And then there's some changes with like the dual quest, so you can just like repeat them back to back. You don't have to like exit and go back in. They added some item drops to Rappies as a whole, as well as Ordinal Tower rank 7. I don't know what these items are, because when I killed Rappies earlier today, they just kept dropping grinders. Maybe it's like some sort of special drop, maybe like a cosmetic or something. I'm not exactly sure. But with Ordinal Tower rank 7, I did that the normal route, and I didn't get anything different from before, so maybe that's also like a more rare thing, or deals with Vardius or the Frostal inside. And we have a whole bunch of user interface changes, so pretty much just like adding UI for all those things mentioned before, like the portable holograms, that easy photo mode, the creative spaces, a whole bunch of different things, just adding and changing stuff to fit all of that. It's nothing like too different beyond there. But then with the character creation, they changed some of the explanations, so it's, I guess, like easier to figure out. They added that waist width that we talked about before, and then they added the following items to the salon and NGS blocks. Remove under makeup and face paint, follow colors under makeup and face paint, and remove under outerwear. So there's those for the salon. And then for items, they added some star gems to both the ARKS Records badge shop and the Alliance badge shop. So you can exchange for that every single week. You can get 2 sets of the 10-star gems and 2 sets of the 5-star from both shops. So that's actually a good amount of star gems per week that we weren't getting before. And then also to help with getting these star gems, they're going to add more ARKS record badges in the ARKS records. And it seems like they're going to be doing ARKS records every single week, so you'll be able to get more. But it did look like you needed to get 40 badges if you wanted all the star gems every single week, which means you need to get gold in ARKS records if you want to do that. And then for the Alliance badges, they added 1 more Alliance badge per quest that you do, so you'll be getting double the amount. So that kind of help get the star gems and still get the triggers inside that Alliance badge shop. But then there's a new exchange shop, the Giga Strugment exchange, which you won't be able to get anything in it quite yet because the Strugments for that exchange aren't added in till next week. But you can actually look at the items inside. So at the item trader here, there is the Giga Strugment down here. And you can get Duffy capsules, Giga Spores, Photon 2, A and B, and a whole bunch of different camos that Global did not have before. But to get these Giga Strugments starting next week, you have to kill Gigantics of level 79, because we're going to get that level increase to 75 next week as well. So we're going to have to fight endgame Gigantics for that in open world in Alio. But for all of these items, they reset weekly, and they're kind of like limited, so you can only get like 10 of the augments and the photon chunks, but it's still pretty nice. And this right here will help to get more Gigas Mass Days in that other exchange at the item lab. Speaking of that exchange in the item lab, they actually added a couple of new items they can exchange for, those Photon Chunk 2s. So a lot of different avenues to get these, and they'll cost a whole bunch of different materials like chunks, scales, and monotite tetracite hexakite, or the other materials for the Bs here, dulamite, trinite, and pentalite. But both will cost those photon chunks and photon scales, so you might want to like build up on those resources if you want to potential 6 a lot of weapons in the future, as we're getting 9 stars next week as well. They also added another exchange to the item trader, the special edition exchange, which that uses the creative space special edition tickets that you could get prior to this update. They're no longer obtainable as far as I'm aware, but you can get some posters, Rappy plush, and mini region mags to put into your creative spaces. While we're here, the ARKS Record Badge Exchange also added some new camos, the Sukum Almaty CV, Tenebris Almaty CV, and the Trunkle Almaty CV. I don't know if the Renices was in here already, but there's that too inside, and then also Arms Refiner 2s. It seems like to me they're trying to add a lot more value to this ARKS Record badge, or doing the ARKS Records every single week to obtain these different items. But you're going to have to make some sacrifices, because like I said before, you can only get up to 40 badges a week if you get gold on them, and that will use up all of those badges with just the star gems here, because it takes 20 for the 2 sets of this and 20 for the 2 sets of those. So like you're gonna have to make some sacrifices one way or another. And for the rest of the stuff in the items section, there's like some new things in the AC shop, like a NGS story progress ticket, which we'll get into later. And then added some items from the Spring 23 special scratch to the regular special scratch. So if you missed on those items from before, you can get those now in the regular one. And then just like some other miscellaneous changes here. I guess like one to note in this is they added a feature titled display settings related to the event submission that displays icons to confirm if one's character's clothing and equipment are eligible to apply for events, such as the screenshot submission campaigns that they usually do. This can be found in the system settings and then display settings related to event submission. And you just display that, and it gives you this little thing in the corner that says, thumbs up, you're good to go, it's emittable. Or they give you like that, crossed out icon, and that means you are not good and you need to change up your outfit. But this doesn't apply to other people in the background of your photos. It's just yourself, as far as I'm aware. Your current equipment on your character. So maybe if other people are beside you in these screenshot campaigns, that might make it still unsubmittable. Moving on, though, there are balance adjustments for all of the classes, which all of them are pretty much buffs or just really good. I saw that some of the skills, like in-game, got way increased in terms of their damage, and that's really nice. Kind of helps round out some more of the classes. I already did like a whole video on this you guys can check out, but just know that this is like a huge change for all the classes that pretty much like help it out. But yeah, quests and fields, they adjusted the number of large regular enemies in the Wrestle 4 so that they appear more frequently, and increased attack for the following enemies: Gigantics, Ancient Enemies, and Recon Gigants. So they're going to be hitting even harder, so if you are still Glass Cannon, you're probably going to just be still dead, Or maybe like some even tankier players might start getting insta-killed. Who knows? For the last parts here, some of it I already mentioned, like the ARKS record change with the badges, and the reduction for the guide and tasks. But they discontinued SG tickets as rewards for Alliance task records, so you can no longer get in those leaderboards every week that SG 30 ticket in gold or SG 20 ticket in silver. It's now just the beta reactors that you're fighting over for. So it's pretty much like not really much of a point unless you want that little bit of extra Meseta every week. I mean, like if you're doing them anyways, it's like might as well take it, I guess. But it's just kind of it just sucks to see that they're discontinuing that. But I guess it's probably because you can now get star gems for everybody in the Alliance exchange. But then they also changed the rewards for the main task advice from Lulin 2, so that beginning quest for new players. When you did that quest, you used to get a Renisa series weapon at plus 29 and Renisa armor at plus 29. But the after adjustment here, there's a new series called Hextra that you get that is at plus 39 now, and then Renisa armor that's now plus 39. So a good bump above from what you got before, so it helps you catch up even more. For the Hextra series, from what I saw, it's not really any different from the Renisa. It just like scales harder in the middle, but then at the end it still pretty much ends up being the same. It's the same potential. So I guess it's just kind of like a catch-up weapon that you move on from, helps you out more in the beginning. Yeah, it looks like a whole bunch of great changes for the game, like quality of life and some nice features, some cosmetic things. But of course, with all of that, there can be a lot of bugs with an update this big. As you see here, there's a long list of bugs that got introduced, and then there's just like more articles that are more bugs. So expect to see a lot of those for the first like week or so until they start cleaning them up. I think I saw like earlier today that they've changed a couple of that to they fixed it, so that's nice to see. But now let's talk about that skip gameplay feature or that story ticket from before. So now you can, with AC or real money, you can skip levels, skip story, and skip Trainia and get some equipment out of it as well. So if you want to catch up to pretty much the end or what we have right now, you can, and you can get some more catch-up gear along with that. So first off, the level skip that you can buy skips you to level 70. The cap will be 75 in a week, so you don't quite get there, but you're 5 levels off. And then you get a plus 60 Monarches series, which that's a new series technically. And then 3 pieces of armor Testa. It's hard to say. Armor plus 60, and you'll be able to use those for like the end game until you kind of move on. They're actually not too bad. They're pretty much like copies of things that already exist in the game. So this Monarchus is like the Khazar's Mark 1 weapon series. It's pretty much like identical, exactly the same. You just get it from that AC thing that you can buy. And then for the armor, it's like Testa. It's the same as the Sustato armor. It's just like pre-upgraded. What it comes with is these augments or enchantments here: the Ratty Soul 4, Triple 2, Ultra Credit 4, Mastery 4, and Deafness 4. So pretty much like all these are like decent or like really good. I would say the Ultra Credit 4 and the Mastery 4 are the best out of these. The Deafness 4 is like pretty bad. You probably want to replace that for something that actually gives you like some damage. The Triple 2 is like okay, and the Ratty Soul 4 is also like okay, but you probably want to like replace those 3 at least once you move forward, or just move on to like a new weapon as well. But yeah, for these, they only apply to one class. So make sure you buy it for a class that you want to play. So like the Hunter one, you get it to level 70 and you get the equipment for the Hunter. So plus 60 weapon for all of its weapon types. So the sword, wire, spear is the example. And then you get those 3 armors. And this will cost 1200 AC for each class that you want to buy it for. To purchase this, you just need to go to any of the class counters in any of the cities, and you just go to the skip gameplay option, and it's the top option there, and that'll give you all of those items and the levels. But that doesn't give you the class skills or like the skill points in the game. You actually need to still earn those or buy them in the same menu with the skip Trainia option. So you can spend 900 AC for your account, and that'll give you all the skill points for all your characters that you may have, or just like on your account in general. And that'll explore all of the Trainia and it'll auto-complete them, so you don't have to do them yourself if you don't want to. But then there's another option, because this doesn't skip the story, you still have to do the story all the way through, but then you can skip the story if you want to the latest chapter by spending another 900 AC. So all of that in total is like, what, 3000 AC, so that's like $30 to like completely deck out your character to completely catch up if you want to. So you can do the new content that's coming next week for the combat, like the Starless, and just like a couple of the new things with the Gigantics, that kind of thing. So if you want to do that, you can. I personally wouldn't recommend, because a lot of the stuff is pretty easy. I guess it's like if you really want to save your time and not go through the game, you can do so. The option is there. But if you want to purchase this story progress ticket, it's in the AC shop, which you access in the shop menu in-game right here. And then it's like, just like scroll down, it should be down below. Was it just way down there? There it is on the very bottom. So yeah, 900 AC, just buy that and it'll skip you to the latest chapter. You do that on a character that you've already progressed a little bit, it'll skip you, or even at the very beginning, it'll just skip you all the way. If for some reason, though, that you still want to experience the story, like actually go through it, don't be afraid of like you missing out because of that ticket. You can actually go back to any of the story at the quest counter here, and then going to the ARKS Chronicles main story, and you can just play through all of the cutscenes and the story missions themselves if you really want to experience it for yourself after the fact. Moving on from this, though, we actually have a ton of campaigns that just started with the NGS version 2 release. The first one being this release celebration campaign, which gives you some login bonuses and helps out new players to level up. So if you decide to not skip the leveling, you get this 100% experience earned for the early sectors and quests in the game. So that will help get you past those early areas. And it gives you, but just by logging in, 10 common yellows, which can be used in these battle dias that also have that experience increase. For this, it'll last a few weeks here to the 27th. And also there'll be another login bonus that gives you items for those creative spaces. So bamboo tree, fireworks diorama, bridal confection, and this item container gold that you can place just as much as you want there. And then also it gives that material storage use 15 days, which is very, very nice, because that usually costs a lot of star gems. Speaking of the creative spaces, though, there's actually another campaign which discounts the 6-star build parts for your spaces. So this is all the ones in the SG section of the shop, as it highlights here. And that's actually pretty huge, because star gems are kind of hard to come by. They're like a freemium currency. So getting that 40% off until July 4th is pretty huge for those that want to use those creative spaces. So don't forget to buy as much as possible before that end date. Then for the next thing, this is kind of some more beginner boost campaigns. I believe these have been ongoing already. They've just been adjusted or tweaked a little bit, but you get bonus items and star gems, mainly cosmetics, by making an account and then going to the first login of each of these different stores. So like Xbox One, PlayStation, whatever, it's different items for each one. With your account, if you link them together and log in each store, you can actually get all of these items, but that's a lot of work and you have to download it in each spot. Well, that's kind of just like up to you. But also with the story, you can go through it and also get cosmetics to customize your character, and also get that Hextra series as mentioned before, and just a whole bunch of more items. For the next campaign, there's the Discord post one. We need to go to their official Discord server and introduce yourself with this template here where you have to post your player ID as well as a comment, kind of just talking about yourself. And for this, you just gotta go to their introduce yourself channel. And then get these rewards once you do so. I believe you get the items after a little while after the campaign is done on June 20th. But for this one, I don't know, this is a little bit weird to me because you're kind of connecting your in-game account to the Discord, which could break a little bit of privacy versus the other campaigns that they have. But if you want to do so, you can do that. Moving on to the next one, there are some great bargains in the SG shops. This is a whole bunch of sets that are available to June 20th, where you can get some augments that have a 100% chance to get affixed to your gear, and then some rare drop rate boosters, just stuff that kind of like help you out to get some more items or get more experience. For these, like the Giga 4s are pretty nice. But I think next week, once the Gigantics are going to be farmed like crazy and with the Giga Strugment shop, I don't know how valuable these in particular will be, but it'll still be like nice to have. But 980 SG is quite a bit. So it's kind of just like up to you if you want to grab those. For the next thing, this is use AC, get items, special campaign. So if you use AC on any of those items as mentioned before, and like some other packs, just anything really, up until June 20th, you can get some extra items. So at 100 AC, you get this stamp here, this Darkfalls one. And then for 500 AC, you get this Darkfalls mask once, and then twice at 1,000, so you can bind it to your account. And that's pretty much it with that one. But with this here, this is another pack that you can buy for the creative space, and also gives you suits. That's with the Sonic collab, which is, I guess, kind of cool. It's better than the previous Sonic outfits that I've had. But with this, you get like a Sonic costume, Sonic head, a whole bunch of stuff for the creative spaces, all those build parts. There's a premium set inside as well, rare drop rate boosters, and some other bonus gifts. And I believe this costs, $10 or 990 AC in the AC shop. There's also another creative space pack, but they didn't have it on the website. But in game, there is a resort build parts pack that costs 580 AC, and with that, it gives you a number of different items kind of with a resort theme, so like a pool, deck chair, all of those kind of things. For the final thing that I have for you guys today, NGS is going to go to the live event Anime Expo 2023, which will be held at the Los Angeles Convention Center from July 1st to July 4th. And in there, they'll have a merch stand and photo booth. And with that, they'll be selling these items here for these costs. So steel badges, t-shirts, and then there'll be an attendee bonus if you go to their booth, where you can get a code for these different items. Some of these have already existed, so you may already have them. I think the only one that's completely new is this Sonic thing for the creative spaces. Yeah, that was everything that I had for you guys for the start of the version 2 update. For those of you who stuck around, there'll be a keyword on screen now from the David stream. They'll give you some star gems and some boosters. But let me know what you guys think of all of this. I think overall it was a pretty good update, pretty great. I actually have been enjoying the creative spaces, kind of messing around with all of the things you can in there. And I'll be putting out some more videos on more in-depth things with that and some of the other features that I couldn't in this update video today. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.